Welcome to the Indiana 4-H Clover Call podcast, where our goal is to share information about the people and programs that make the Indiana 4-H Youth Development Program such an important part of our communities. We welcome youth and adult 4-H volunteers, 4-H youth and their families, extension professionals, and any others who are interested in providing positive opportunities for youth. We thank you for joining us for this episode, which begins now.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Wilkins, and I am the 4-H Youth Development Educator in Harrison County.
I'm here with Shelly Bingle, who is the Executive Director for the Indiana 4-H Foundation, and Dr. Sean Sharma, who is the current chair of that board of directors. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I guess we'll start with Dr. Sharma. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became involved in the 4-H Foundation, the Indiana 4-H Foundation.
Yeah, so as Rebecca said, my name's Sean Sharma, and I am currently president of the Indiana 4-H Foundation Board of Directors. I'm a 10-year 4-H'er from Warren County, and really, I think as many of us, really a lifelong 4-H'er. I started 4-H even before I was in 4-H because my older brother and sister were 4-H'ers. My mom was a 4-H'er before me, and then I had my 10 years. Even after finishing 4-H, I served different roles as a project superintendent, as a judge, and now on the 4-H Foundation Board of Directors. As you mentioned, I am a doctor, so I practice internal medicine and pediatrics, and I practice in my hometown of Williamsport. And then this last year, I took a role as medical director at the Subaru Health and Wellness Center in Lafayette, Indiana. Then I'm also serving as health officer for the Fountain and Warren County Health Department.
Okay, so what projects do you judge for 4-H with that type of background?
So it's interesting, right? Somehow I've gotten to be known as the aerospace expert in this area of Indiana. I think it's more a lack of rocket scientists that they need a doctor to do to do this. But the key things with 4-H or whether that's aerospace is to understand the fundamentals, right? So how rockets are created. What you want to consider when you're considering the aerodynamics of flight, what the parts of a plane are and how pilots navigate themselves. So there's so much to learn, and you don't necessarily have to be an expert. Well, I think it's, with me, I'm not a rocket scientist, but I can still judge rockets. Just like many parents may not be forestry experts, but they can help their kids identify what trees are, which wood is good for what project. It's true no matter what you do in 4-H. It's all about learning, and we can learn beyond just the things that we do for a living. So I practice medicine, but I like to judge rockets. And it's some of the funnest times that I have is getting to work with those 4-H'ers and look at their rockets and see how they created their rocket. I remember the first year I built a rocket, and my mom helped me with it. And we were not very sophisticated. We painted the entire rocket by hand with the paintbrush. And occasionally I'll run into one of those rockets, usually for first year members, and it just brings back good memories.
All right, Shelly, we'll move on to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became involved in the foundation.
Sure. So I grew up in Fulton County, so the polar opposite of you, right? Almost the northern part of Indiana. And it's one of the smallest counties in the whole state. So when I went off to college, I I actually couldn't wait to leave Fulton County, right? You don't appreciate it until you're gone, right? And so, after college, I moved to Texas, and I taught elementary school in Texas, and then really grew to understand how great Indiana is right? When you're far away, then you appreciate things much more. And so it was good for me to move away, but I was excited to move back, and I got the opportunity to get this job and really reconnect with those roots. I really love working with kids. And so this is the best of both worlds, right? Because I get to work with kids, but I also get to raise money so I can help lots of kids at once. So I feel like that's the great part of the foundation is we get to be involved with 4-H, but we also get to help make it possible and make it even bigger than it is. So I'm hoping that we can, in the coming years, that we can even bring more funds to 4-H so that we can have more kids in 4-H and that we can have more opportunities for them.
So that segues into, what is the Indiana 4-H Foundation? What is its purpose? What does it add to our 4-H program on the whole?
You want me to do?
Probably-
Sean and I
I'm
were
gonna-
trying to decide who was going to say what.
I'm gonna probably start out and say that, my view of the foundation is that, we're a group of volunteers who serve on the board to try to help raise money to support 4-H programming for the events that we loved in our past and the future that 4-H has to serve the kids and adolescents of the future.
Yes, so I feel like the foundation was created, back in the day. It was actually created in 1961. So it's actually over 50 years old, and a lot of people don't realize that. But it was created by Earl Butts, who was the dean at that time of the College of Agriculture, and Mary Frances Smith, and all these legends in agriculture. And so we talk about that at board meetings a lot, about how we're standing on the shoulders of giants, right? And we have a legacy to uphold. And they were way ahead of their time. I mean, in 1961, there weren't a lot of private foundations. And so we've been able to raise, just since 2008, when we moved back to campus, which was really when the foundation kind of rebooted, we've raised over $6 million for 4-H. So we're really proud of that, and we hope that that by doing things like this and talking to people, that we can bring awareness to how important the foundation is, and by working together, how much we can accomplish.
Mm-hmm. So I know as an educator, when I come to campus to events like 4-H Roundup or 4-H Academy, I get to see the Indiana 4-H Foundation at work through those events, through the sponsorships and things like that. I get to go with kids sometimes who receive scholarships. How might your average 4-H member or your average 4-H volunteer come in contact with the 4-H Foundation and not even know it?
Sure. Well, those are really great examples that you gave. And we do support all the statewide events and help secure sponsors for those. We do all the scholarships so that students can go to whatever university they want, right? Because we can write checks. We write checks to Harvard and Purdue and, UK and everybody else. And so those are probably the most common ways, but we also secure money for the electric project. So if anybody who ever bought an electric board, the foundation helped subsidize that so that it was more economical.
Mm-hmm. I know too, at the beginning, or let's say mid-March, when COVID-19 became popular, positive spin, right?
Yeah.
you guys contacted the educators and said, what are you seeing in your communities? What's going on? How can we help? And I know in my community, we got a $1,000 grant through the 4-H Foundation, and we were able to do a generous donation to one of our local food pantries. We took $500 of that $1,000 grant that you sponsored us for, and my local 4-H council matched that. And I went literally, and I think bought 8 shopping carts full of groceries that we donated.
Rebecca, one of the things that you were just talking about was funding for these different COVID projects from the foundation. And I think that's an excellent example of a way the foundation can help. So not only for the traditional programs that are out there, but new opportunities that come up where maybe funding you may not be able to get quickly through the pipeline, the foundation can help to fund new ideas and new opportunities for 4-Hers that are relevant to the times. And I think this is critical.
Right. I mean, and you had a project in your county too, right, Sean?
Well, we did have the FW Victory Gardens that our extension program and our extension Master Gardeners program and some 4-Hers helped with letting different community members grow their own gardens. We had over 400 garden packets that were sent out,
Wow.
and it was just literally thousands and thousands of seeds that had to be sorted. And the nice thing is we could develop a protocol and get those done safely. And 4-Hers and 4-H families are a great way that many hands make light work.
In total, we ended up giving 44 grants to 44 different counties for over $40,000.
And I just think it's so important for us to think about how 4-H can be flexible and can adapt, not only with keeping our traditional programs in place, but also new programs like the Spark programs and the fluid mechanic programs. And then I think one great program that 4-H Foundation sponsors are the Teens as Teachers programs. And Shelley may be able to talk a little bit more about that. But these teens, they're going and getting training in a centralized place in Indiana on specific topics that are relevant to their community. And then they're going back home to their communities to share that education and that information. And, when we use these 4-Hers, these junior leaders as spokesperson, that's how the message is going to be most effectively sent home on different topics, whether that's youth, mental health, or other topics that are relevant to kids in this day and age.
So, Shelley, have you ever been to a do you get to frequent the events that you sponsor often? I mean, I see you around, but
Oh, good. Yeah, I try to go to events so that I can describe them for donors because they can't always attend in person. But for Roundup and junior leaders, things like that, a lot of our sponsors have actually attended those as youth. So
Aw.
it's really cool. They love to come back and say hello and interact with the kids, and we'll be excited when we can have events in person. But I also think it's interesting that like the leadership summit over the weekend, we were able to engage with people that might not be able to come to an event, but they can join virtually. So I got several emails over the weekend from donors who were able to join the leadership summit and thought that it was really well done. And we're really appreciative that we were able to still do that. So, big shout out to Steve McKinley, because I know that was a lot of work, and so we're adapting and we're rolling with this situation, right? And hopefully reaching new audiences that way too.
I think so. I know as educators, we kind of had to learn a lot of these new technologies on the fly. But now that we're a little bit more comfortable with them, I think we're branching out in ways that we wouldn't have had this not happen. So it'll be an interesting equilibrium when everything comes back to center, whatever that is.
Yes.
Rebecca, one of the things we've talked about as a foundation board is trying to cultivate that culture of philanthropy throughout the 4-H community. I know we have a lot of great things on our side in 4-H, this idea of volunteerism and teamwork and other things. But unfortunately, these programs aren't free and the curriculum's not free. And they need funding to adapt and develop and, grow. And so we all have different roles to play during our 4-H careers. Some of us are 4-Hers and then leaders and then 4-H parents. And for now, my role is on the 4-H Foundation to try to encourage others to realize that, we need support to create a future for 4-H that's as bright as its past.
So I mentioned in my email before, sometimes we as educators don't always do a great job highlighting the 4-H Foundation. What do you want our volunteers, our 4-H members, and their families to know about the 4-H Foundation? What is your, best kept secret that I can help you get out into Indiana today?
So I guess my answer is that we're all advocates for 4-H and for funding 4-H. So if you're a volunteer out there, you're a parent, you're a 4-Her, talk with your county commissioners, talk with those legacy 4-H families, and make sure that they're engaged not only on a county level, but also on a state level or potentially on a national level. And in the state of Indiana, your avenue to support programming for 4-H is best directed through the Indiana 4-H Foundation. That goes to statewide programs, and it also goes to each county. And so we all have a role as a part of the foundation. I know that it's easy to think, oh, well, that's Dr. Sharma, or, there's an attorney who's on the board, or other people who are very successful in their careers. But in reality, we all play a role in securing the future of 4-H.
Well, and that what Sean said was right on point. And also I would add that the easiest way that people can show their support for 4-H is to buy a license plate, right? It's great marketing. And if it's important enough to have on your car, I feel like that shows a real level of support, right? And also, a lot of people don't realize that you can set up endowments for your county. That's one of our goals, is to have an endowment for every county, so that educators like yourself have, if you want to buy robotics kits, or if you want to start an urban garden, a garden in your town, or whatever your goals are locally, then that will give you more flexibility. So people can leave 4-H in their wills. Not everyone has available cash right now, but you can talk to the foundation about that. We've got lots of people that have us in their estate plans, or there's all kinds of other ways that you can give that isn't a cash gift. And I don't think people always realize that. They think they just need to write a check, and that isn't always the case. So if people are interested in learning more about that, they can definitely reach out to myself or Dr. Sharma, and we can talk to you about options and work through those, because we're all about being donor centered and making sure that donors' support goes where they want it to go. And it's so important that if you do put us in your will, that you let us know, so that we can make sure that it goes where you want it to go, and that you have it set up clearly. And there's so many 4-H organizations that if you don't set it up correctly, it might go to the wrong one, or it could go to national 4-H, it could go to all kinds of places. So it's really important that you let us know, so we can set it up the way you want it.
Kelly, I think that's a good point. And, I don't know that everybody listening to this knows what an endowment is, but an endowment that's dedicated to your county basically is giving unrestricted funds to your county educator that they can use for programs as they see fit moving forward. So it's secured money that goes directly to your county from here till forever. And I think that is the kind of gift that never stops giving. And that's why we think endowments on the county level are so important.
Awesome. So how would an interested donor get in touch with you guys?
Right now we're working remotely, so it's probably best to email. And my email is ShelleyB, SHELLY, the letter B as in boy, @purdue.edu. Or you can call the office. That's 765-494-8483.
Don't forget about our website.
And of course the website, yes.
It's in4h.org. It's about the easiest website you can think of, in4h, and no hyphens or anything, .org. And basically, if you want to learn more about what we do, what programs we fund, you can even give directly on the website. And I think it's important you can direct others to the website as well. I think that, we talked about lots of different ways that people can support 4-H programming and support the foundation. My son's first year in 4-H is this year. He did mini 4-H last year. And we're getting excited, have our calves in the barn and starting to take care of them every day. And I know that when that auction comes up this summer, we're definitely going to dedicate some of those funds that are raised from the sale of his animal at auction directly to the Indiana 4-H Foundation. And we're going to announce that at the county livestock auction so that other people know, where this money's going. Yeah, sure, some of it might go to his college fund, but some of it's going to secure the future of this program, which we think is important.
That's awesome. Hadn't thought of that. So hopefully many 4-Hers are going to listen to this, and that seed will spark some more donations back to the foundation, because all of the 4-Hers in one way or the other are going to benefit from those funds through the foundation, whether it be for robotics kits or makerspace kits or camp scholarships for 4-H camps and that types of thing. Most, if not all, 4-H members are going to be touched by the foundation in some way.
Rebecca, I know that, growing up, we all think of 4-H as very county specific.
Right.
And I think your county programs are wonderful and excellent. But I'll be honest, the stronger the state program is, the better every single county program will be, because that's where these programs are developed. That's where the curriculums are developed and fine-tuned. And so investing not only at the county level, but also at the state level is where it's at. And the nice thing is that the 4-H Foundation can help you do both.
Mm-hmm. No, that's absolutely true. I have tools in my office that I would not have if it weren't for the Indiana 4-H Foundation. I have a nice big makerspace kit that I take into local libraries. I take it into local school classrooms. Not right now, obviously, but when things again come to balance, then we'll be right back out there utilizing those resources and meeting kids who maybe are not familiar, families who are not familiar with 4-H. So those give me that outreach, those tools to do that outreach to those parts of the community that may not be entrenched in 4-H like some of our families are. Well, that's the end of my question list. Is there anything else that you guys want to share?
I think that this is a great opportunity. And, as future ideas come across, be sure to engage us. I want to make sure so much that people don't view the foundation as this separate organization, but rather as an integral part to the success of 4-H.
No, I think that was the point of this podcast, that our first episode we introduced Dr. Mull. He sees the brand new face, and then the next two we will be doing the 4-H specialists who are at state. So again, the families may not get to see them, but we'd like for them to at least hear their voice and learn their roles. And then we thought you guys were just kind of a natural fit into that next chapter. And then from there, we're hoping to highlight some volunteers and some of these big programs around the state to inspire and empower ideas to happen. And we can't do that without you. So it was just a natural flow.
Thank you so much. And
thanks for having us.
Yeah, for featuring us. And we want to give a shout out to all the educators across the state who are working so hard, and all the volunteers for getting us through this year and being resilient. We're so proud of everybody, and we can't wait to see you in person and give you big hugs, right?
Right. Thank you for the masks. I wear mine all the time.
Oh, great.
Yes.
The volunteer family in Marion County made those, and I think we bought every piece of 4-H fabric left in the state of Indiana.
Well, they are being utilized. I know myself and my partners in other counties are getting a lot of mileage out of those right now.
It's great branding, right? If we have to wear a mask, we may as well have a Clover on it. So.
That's right.
Right. Well, thank you so much. If you need anything, just please let us know.
Interested in learning more about Indiana 4-H? We invite you to visit our website, extension.purdue.edu/4H, or contact your local Purdue Extension office and ask for the 4-H Youth Development Extension Educator. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast so you won't miss an episode. We look forward to joining you again on the next Indiana 4-H Clover Call.